Professor Dave and Chegg here. Now that we understand how to notate chemical equations, we need to know how to balance them so that they can obey conservation of mass, meaning that they must display the same number of atoms of each element before and after the reaction. This involves finding the correct coefficients for each substance involved in the reaction, and we need to find these coefficients in order to accurately describe what is occurring in the reaction. This is best understood through example, so let's go in for a closer look now.
Let's take a look at the combustion of methane, or CH4, which is just a fancy way of saying that methane reacts with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. Combustion will always involve oxygen as a reactant and these two products. This equation is already balanced so that we can see what a balanced equation looks like. Each substance has a coefficient to its left, which indicates how many molecules of that substance there are, although if the coefficient is 1, it will be omitted. We can see that the coefficients are 1, 2, 1, and 2, because these are the numbers of molecules we will need of each substance in order to ensure that there are the same number of atoms of each element on each side. This is important because chemistry obeys conservation of mass. This means that in a chemical reaction, atoms are not created or destroyed. They simply rearrange their combinations. So the atoms that are present on the reactant side must all be accounted for on the product side. Counting up the atoms on the reactant side of this reaction, there is 1 carbon atom, 4 hydrogen atoms, and 4 oxygen atoms, since each oxygen molecule has 2, and this coefficient tells us there are 2 oxygen molecules. Now looking at the product side, we have 1 carbon here, we have a total of 4 hydrogen atoms, because each water molecule has 2, and there are 2 water molecules, and we have 4 oxygen atoms, 2 from CO2 and 1 for each water molecule. Since we have the same number of atoms of each element on both sides of the equation, this equation is balanced. Now let's look at an unbalanced equation so we can practice. Electrolysis of water can produce hydrogen gas and oxygen gas, as is illustrated by this equation, but we need to know the ratios of each substance involved. So let's balance these elements one at a time. There are 2 hydrogen atoms on the left and 2 on the right. So far, so good. But for oxygen, there is 1 on the left and 2 on the right. So we can balance that by placing a 2 in front of water, because 2 water molecules will give us 2 oxygen atoms on the left. But now there are 4 hydrogen atoms on the left as well, so we will need to put a 2 in front of hydrogen to get 4 hydrogen atoms on the right. Now this equation is balanced, as there are the same number of each type of atom on each side. Here is another one. For this one, nitrogen looks good as it is, but for oxygen we have a 2:5 ratio. Let's put a 5 here and a 2 here, so that there are 10 oxygen atoms on each side. Let's check on nitrogen again. Nitrogen became unbalanced when we added the 2 on the right side of the equation, as now there are 4 on the product side, so we need to put a 2 here to get 4 on the reactant side. Now that we have the hang of things, let's try some trickier ones. First off, we have calcium chloride and sodium phosphate producing calcium phosphate and sodium chloride in a double displacement reaction. Since there are a lot of elements here, one strategy that you can use is to make a table like this, with each element listed, so that we can keep track of the number of atoms of each element on either side of the equation. Let's start out by getting the full tally. We have 1 calcium on the left and 3 on the right. We have 2 chlorines on the left and 1 on the right. We have 3 sodiums on the left and 1 on the right. We have 1 phosphorus on the left and we have 2 on the right, given that this 2 in subscript applies to the entire polyatomic phosphate ion. And for oxygen, we have 4 on the left and we have 8 on the right, again because there are 4 in each phosphate ion and there are 2 phosphate ions. So that gives us our complete tally. Now let's get to balancing. Let's start with calcium. This is not balanced, so we need to put a coefficient somewhere. The easiest thing to do will be to put a 3 here next to calcium chloride. This means we have 3 calcium chlorides and therefore 3 calcium atoms, and we can change our tally to reflect that. Calcium is now balanced. However, we have also changed the number of chlorine atoms on the left. There are now 6 since there are 2 per formula unit, times 3. We will come back to chlorine in a moment. First, let's jump over to phosphorus and oxygen. We can actually balance these at the same time because they are found in the same polyatomic ion. So we simply need to balance that ion, and those elements will also be balanced. We have one phosphate on the left and two phosphates on the right, so we just need to put a 2 here in front of sodium phosphate, and that will give us 2 phosphates. This also means that there are 2 phosphorus and 8 oxygen atoms on the left, which means that these two elements are now balanced. But we have changed the number of sodium atoms on the left to 6, so let's note that change. Lastly, we can take care of both chlorine and sodium in one step. If we put a 6 in front of sodium chloride, that will give us 6 atoms of each element on the right, and those elements will now be balanced, meaning that the equation is also balanced as a whole. Let's try just one more. We have carbon monoxide and hydrogen gas reacting to give C8H18 and water. Once again, we make our table. For carbon, we have 1 on the left and 8 on the right. For hydrogen, we have 2 on the left and 20 on the right, combining 18 and 2. And for oxygen, we have 1 on each side. Once again, we will notice that hydrogen is by itself on the left side, so let's do that last. Since oxygen is currently balanced, let's start with carbon. Clearly, we need to put an 8 out here in front of CO, as that will give us 8 carbons on both sides. Carbon is now balanced, but we have also changed the number of oxygens on the left to 8. So let's try to balance oxygen now. With only 1 on the right, we must put an 8 in front of water to get 8 oxygens on the right. Oxygen is now balanced, leaving only hydrogen. On the right, we have 18 from this first substance and 16 from water, because there are 2 per water molecule and 8 water molecules. 18 plus 16 is 34, and that means we have 34 hydrogen atoms on the right. So we just need to put a 17 out here in front of H2, and that will give us 34 on the left as well. Hydrogen is now balanced, and the equation is balanced.
As we can see, balancing equations is relatively straightforward. Choose an element and change a coefficient to balance that element, and then move on to the next. If something becomes unbalanced in the process, go back and balance it, always leaving elements that appear by themselves for the end, since those can be manipulated without altering any other element. So hopefully, with these examples under our belts, we will be more than ready to balance any equation we might come across. Professor Dave for Chegg. See you next time.